significant, and it's still manifest today, is that everybody came there because it was, quote, the clubhouse. You actually could talk to somebody about this hobby and not be viewed as having three heads. You were the words that still permeate geek and nerd. We kind of laugh at that now, and it's almost a little bit of, in an indirect way, a badge of honor, because the Bible says the meek inherit the earth, but I think in our case the geeks are inheriting the earth, because we've kind of set the trend. The world has went through so many changes all over the years, and the one thing about comics and pop culture, I should be more broad about this, which kind of ties to the museum that was my dream come true, is that this product has evolved. The death sentence has been on the board for years. Every time comics are going to go away, this is going to go away. But it has survived every new technology. When people thought that comics would go away when there became television, and this would happen to computers. And now they panicked over the digital world. But the truth of the matter is, what comics and pop culture material and science fiction has uniquely is that it partners with everything. Whatever the next technology is, whether it's next year or 100 years from now, I can assure you that the product base that we deal in will find a way to be right at the top of the list as part of the enjoyment. We've experienced so many changes in recent times, and yet the people that are doing this every day are doing it for why? Because they love it. I mean, what's the old expression? If you get a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. There's a lot of sweat goes on in this room, and all the people who have put their careers in it. But by and large, it's a wonderful way to escape their everyday life. And we go back to the imagination. You're reading a comic book. I'm not just totally talking about comics now, but as it relates to digital particularly, you're in the old left panel, right panel. The real magic is happening here, in your brain, because there's no technology that I can foresee ever, whether it be 100 years from now or 1,000 years from now, that will replicate the human imagination. The things that you dream, with all the technology that you see, some of the most incredible special effects that are in the movies today, cannot be captured, the things that are done there. So as long as that's the driving force, our imagination, and the creative blood, I was not blessed with the ability to draw or the ability to write, but I had a great imagination, and God knows the lifeblood of our industry are guys like are sitting on this panel who come up with these incredible ideas that at the time are designed maybe to be entertaining and to fascinate you through science fiction, but even they didn't necessarily realize that one day some of this stuff would really be happening. And when you look back to Flash Gordon in the 1935 period or whatever, those things seem impossible. Now they seem boring, because things have surpassed all of our wildest imagination. But at the risk of a commercial here, I didn't intend to be that, but I do invite you, if you're in Baltimore, to come to Geppi's Entertainment Museum, because it's a passion that I guess by osmosis, I was selected to be the guy to accumulate all this stuff while everybody thought I was a lunatic, to preserve it, because 100 years from now, I would like to think that there's going to be a Geppi's Entertainment Museum that'll be not only one in Baltimore, but various places getting the respect that it deserves. Many universities now have incredible treasure troves, like Ohio State University, and with due respect, these are wonderful. But the vast majority of what they have had donated to them never sees light of day. Yeah. There is so much material that has been preserved. As much has been thrown away, there's that much more that's available, not to mention today people don't throw it away anymore, so the new stuff that's being the future relics are things that are going to be seen. So I highly encourage you, if you come to Baltimore, to come see that, because maybe it'll be a catalyst for you in your mind that someday in your area, wherever you are, you'll want to put something together like that or be a part of it. Because I can tell you, it is a fulfillment of a dream, as my daughter said, and to see my kids grow up around it. When I was a kid, my mom tripped over comic books everywhere she went. So when I was 5 years old, I knew what a comic book was. Today, kids don't find comic books easily, because while there are better places to buy them vis-a-vis comic book stores, there are far fewer of them. So twofold. One, they don't discover them because they're not available to the parents. And two, while they're not discovering them, they're discovering everything else. But that's the beauty of the internet today, because it's my little boy sitting back here. He's 11 years old and going to be 12 soon, Stevie. And he now knows the characters better than I do, because he's been exposed to them. It wasn't because Dad or Mom brought him home comic books, which in our case we did too, but it's because when he goes on the internet, all these characters are ubiquitous now. Iron Man, who was a second-tier character, is now a household word. And so for the benefit of the science fiction audience, the comic book fantasy audience, the internet has been a boon. It wasn't a threat. It's another case of comics partnering with the latest technology to spread the word. When I first started distributing, the retailers would say to me, why don't you get Marvel and DC to run TV ads to advertise comic books? You guys have no idea the economics of this. But today, because of the internet being quote unquote free, so to speak, the dissemination of the information, what happens here in San Diego when 130,000 people get together? I was just reading a little article at Entertainment Weekly before I come over here, and it was talking about what effect does San Diego Comic-Con really have? Does it really make a difference? The answer at the end of the day was yes, because it's not just the economic impact of if everybody bought one of your books here today and 130,000 were sold. It's the discipleship that goes out into the masses on their website, on their page, on their Facebook, on their Twitter, that lets the world know what an exciting world we've all been privy to all these years, and you're just finding out about it. And it's okay to do it. It isn't that you're a three-headed geek. It's okay. We all have. I tell people this story when I've been on a train. There's a guy, it's hypothetical, guy sitting on a train and he's reading a science fiction paperback. And he's in a three-piece suit, you know, and there's another guy sitting there, you know, reading a comic book. Well, they look at the one guy and they think he's like, if there's something wrong with him, he's like not very educated. Both of these guys are reading about little green men at the end of the day. But it's just a perspective of how they see it. So when I started off by saying I smile when I look at this room, because here we are, 8 o'clock at night, the last event, so to speak, of the day in the panel. I don't know how we got bumped in the back, but maybe it's a good thing. But I just want to summarize by saying you should be very proud, whether you're a collector, whether you're a creator, whether you have whatever angle or part of the business you have. You all contributed to this. I've been fortunate enough to be sitting in a seat where I see a lot of it because of Diamond's position with distribution. But I love it. It's like if somebody said if you could own one company like Marvel or DC, it'd be wonderful. You'd own and control all that. But I wouldn't get necessarily to share with all the others. So being in the middle, I love being a distributor because everything, we get to get excited about your stuff.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work.
Well, thanks, Steve.